What is up, guys? Pie Muffin here, and we are back with another video. This time we are not having a Tales of the Rays discussion, although Tales of the Rays may be on this video. I'm obviously, by the time you're going to see, these are my thoughts for Tales Festival 2018, which is actually coming up in a few weeks now. And in terms of the reveals we could possibly see, just wanted to make a quick video on what I want to see for the future of the series and what we might possibly get here in the West. Because obviously, for the Western side of things, the last thing that we actually got was Tales of Berseria back in early 2017. So it's been roughly about a year, and I think it came out at the end of January, early February. So it's been like a year and 3 months since Berseria came out on PS4 and Steam out here in the West. And Japan got Berseria at the end of 2016. So it'll almost be, if they announce a new Tales game, in a couple weeks, it'll probably be 2 years since we saw a game, which is a good thing, because it means that they took their time with this. But I know a lot of people are worried that with, Tales of Link doesn't exist anymore, it got ended. But with Tales of Asteria and Tales of the Rays, people are worried that maybe Bandai is focusing more on the mobile market and not actually coming out with a main console game. But I highly doubt that's the case. I'm sure they've had something in the works for a while now. But the question is, are we going to hear about it now, and what kind of game would we even see? So first, I'll go over that a little bit later. But first, let's talk about Asteria and Rays, speaking of which. What could they possibly announce for that? I'm sure Asteria, I don't play too much. I play a little bit. But I'm sure that for Asteria, they'll probably have some new story content to show. They really like to go all out with the cinematics for each new story that they add, as I've seen. So I'm sure we'll get some stuff for that, and those who play Asteria, I'm sure will have a lot of fun with that. As for Rays, I feel like since Tales Fest is coming up, we'll probably get some kind of big character reveal. Obviously, we got that tease a little over a month ago about Judith, that they were working on her, but she has a different playstyle than most characters, so it was probably a little more difficult to implement into the game. So we could see her, but I feel like they'll probably do their next big, maybe villain reveal. We had that voting kind of thing, months ago before we got Mythos, and Mythos was obviously the one who won. I believe Douse was in second, and I believe Duke was in third. So we could see, one of those two maybe coming up next. But other than that, I mean, we're still in part 2 of Tales of the Rays. We're getting chapter 5 in a couple hours now from when I'm recording this video, of Mirage Prison. So we've still got a ways to go before we get some new cinematic for a brand new, like, part 3 or something. Obviously depending on how well Tales of the Rays is doing in Japan. From what I see, it's actually doing really well. Obviously, it didn't do so well out here. But that's the difference with mobile games to actual games. A lot of people were worried since, Tales of Link tanked, and then Tales of the Rays tanked out here in the West. People are worried, like, what if Tales is going to be exclusive to Japan now? There's not really any evidence to really support that, because as we've seen, even though Zestiria wasn't the best game in their lineup, it still did really well out here. And same thing with Berseria. It sold a lot of stuff. I believe even at the Game Awards last year, I think Berseria was one of the games for RPG of the Year. I think it was on the list. I know Persona 5 won, but I know Berseria was in the running. So obviously it's still something that people bought out here. So with that, I would say don't be worried about not getting, like, if they announce a game in Japan at Tales Fest, we will get that, months later. So, if we look at it, it was end of 2016, Japan got it to come out, and then it was like 6 months later that we got it out here. So figure the same thing. So, like, let's say, for example, they announce it now and Japan gets it in September. I would say probably, maybe January or February of 2019, we would probably get the next title. But obviously for now, all we really have to look forward to is, Rays content if you're playing the Japanese version of the game. If you don't, if you're, I know there are some stubborn people out there. I'm not trying to knock them for it. Just some people are this way where they won't play a game if they can't read it because they don't really see a point. Those people aren't going to have any kind of Tales content until this next game comes out. They can go back and kind of, play the old games, but as for new stuff, they really don't have anything. And, that kind of sucks for some people. I know on Steam when Zestiria came out, they had that kind of like, it was like a step up thing for pre-orders where if enough people pre-ordered, you got Tales of Symphonia, an HD version on Steam for free. So it'd be kind of cool if they tried to, give us more HD versions of Tales games on Steam. Because, like me, for example, in terms of PlayStation consoles, I owned a PlayStation 2, and then I didn't own another PlayStation console to PS4. So there are a lot of Tales games I never got to play because I don't have a PlayStation 3, and I don't plan on, spending $150 on a console that I'm going to use for like 4 or 5 games. So I'm hoping that they eventually come out with like a collection thing. How Kingdom Hearts has their, I forget what it's called, but it's the, like the remix edition. I have that and it's got like 6 titles. 2 of them are actually just big movies, but it still has the whole story there. So it'd be kind of cool if like, I know that's a lot of titles to put into one thing, but it'd be kind of cool if like on Steam or PlayStation they came out with a collection that has like, I don't know, from, it would be like everything up to Zestiria. It'd be cool if they threw it on there, but I honestly don't see that happening, especially since Tales of Vesperia only had an Xbox release out here for the English version. The Japanese version had a PS3 version, but PS3 out here in the West did not get a Vesperia edition. So it'd be kind of cool to get, even if they didn't, it really wouldn't be that hard for them to do, even if they, wouldn't have to redub everything because a lot of the lines I'm sure are the same. I know there's some alterations with the Vesperia story, like how you've got Patty as a party member, and then obviously Flynn at certain points becomes a full party member, so obviously there would be some stuff they would have to redub. But even if that game just came out with, Japanese voice acting with English subtitles, I'd be fine with that. Just put that on part of the collection. But there are a lot of fans who came in kind of late into the series, and I think it'd be really cool if there was just a collection that everyone could just start from the beginning and kind of go through all the games. Because I know there's a lot I would like to play, for sure. Because the only ones I played, and I've said this on previous videos, my first Tales game was Symphonia on the GameCube. And then I got Vesperia on Xbox 360, played Symphonia 2 on the Wii. I'm playing through Abyss on the 3DS right now. I haven't completed it yet. I'm like 75% way through the game, from what people have told me. And then, obviously, I actually bought, before I had a PS4, I bought Zestiria on Steam. I beat it 3 times, and then I bought it again when I got my PS4. And I'm on my 3rd playthrough of that, so I played it like 6 times now. And then I obviously have Berseria on PS4 as well. So, but that's only like, 5 titles that I've actually played through. So I would like to actually, 5 or 6 that I've actually done, that I would like to do all of them at some point. Especially since, my channel mainly revolves around Tales of the Rays content. I'd like to know about all these different characters. And, I tried watching a playthrough for Xillia. I didn't want to watch a commentary one because I just kind of wanted to see the story, but I just couldn't get myself into it because I wasn't the one playing the game. So I'm just hoping, like, even if it's just game by game, even if they don't come out with a collection, it'd be cool if, like, at this Tales Fest, they announce, like, a Xillia and Xillia 2 for Steam thing. Maybe make it a $60 combo pack on Steam, like an HD version, just upgrade the graphics and put the both games on Steam. That'd be kind of cool, because that would definitely give me something to do. Or even if they did that for PS4, that would actually be better for me recording-wise, because I would definitely do a playthrough of that. But as for what kind of Tales game I would like to see, thinking realistically, we would probably get kind of a more heroic protagonist since our last one was Velvet and she was an anti-hero. It seems like they kind of like to go back and forth, so I could totally see us just getting a regular, hero. As for the story, I don't really, obviously don't know what we would kind of see, but in terms of gameplay, I would like them to, I don't really know how they would do this because we've moved so far into the future, but I kind of miss the fields that, Symphonia and Vesperia had, where, yes, you had the actual lands you were walking through, but then you actually had, like, the outer world that you would, like, travel. Because for me, fast travel is cool and all for, between Berseria with, you had the, what were they called? The Enof bottles or whatever they were called, where you could fast travel, to all the different locations, and eventually you got the bottomless one that took you anywhere. And then as Zestiria, you had the save point, travels, and that's cool and all, it, saves you time, but I kind of miss being able to just run everywhere. When you were playing Symphonia and Vesperia, you didn't have the luxury of just fast traveling until later in the game. Symphonia, you eventually got the, damn, I can't even remember what they were called. The Rayards, that's what they're called. You got the Rayards eventually once you were roughly, I'd say, a little more than halfway through the game. And then in Vesperia, obviously, you had Baul at some point. You had the ship on the water. So that wasn't really fast traveling, but you were able to get to where you wanted to go really fast. I miss stuff like that, as opposed to just being able to fast travel everywhere. But I'm really, with all these last few, Tales streams or different events that have gone on within the last year, everyone's always like, oh, we're going to get the next Tales game announcement. And I feel like now is probably a good time to do it. I mean, because E3 is right before Tales Fest. It's like 2 days before or something like that. Because I believe the first day of Tales Fest is on the 16th, and E3 ends on the 14th. Obviously, they're not going to reveal a Tales game at E3, because that wouldn't really make sense. Why would they reveal it at E3 and then show it at Tales Fest again? So we probably won't see anything at E3 for that. I'm sure Bandai has some other stuff they're going to show off. But it would be really nice at Tales Fest to actually get... I don't even need a trailer, to be honest. If I can just get, like, an image of the main character, like what it's going to be, I'll be happy with that. Just knowing that something's coming. Just something from Bandai of Japan letting us know, like, hey, your waiting has been appreciated, your patience has been appreciated, here's what's going to be coming out. So that's what I'd like to see, honestly. And obviously, I'm sure we'll get a whole bunch of, cool stuff for Reyes and Asteria in terms of, like, in-game stuff, because they do like to reward us for certain things, so I could totally see us getting, like, summon tickets for something completely random, maybe whatever's coming, mid-June. Maybe it's like, oh, we have this going on, and, thank for all the people for retweeting all this stuff about Tales Fest, so everyone gets this amount of diamonds, this amount of gold, and this amount of summon tickets, something like that. But, obviously, Tales Fest will get probably a lot of news as to what's going to be coming in the future for Reyes. Same thing with Asteria, so that'll be cool. And then, like I said, I hope we get something for our next mainstream game. And obviously, if they announce a mainstream game, we'll obviously get whatever characters are from that game in Reyes before too long. Obviously, I don't think they'll add them before the game actually comes out. I don't remember how they did it, but I remember when Berseria came out. I was playing Tales of Link, and I think Velvet actually got added to Tales of Link before Berseria even came out. It was like days prior. I think it was like 2 days before we got Velvet on the English version. And, well, obviously, Berseria came out later in the West, so I guess that could kind of make sense. But yeah, that was also kind of weird. It's like I had Velvet in Tales of Link before I had even played Berseria. And obviously, we also had the Tales of Asteria, the X anime going on, and we already had the Berseria episodes going on before the game even came out, so that was weird too. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I've got about Tales Fest. I know it was kind of like a jumbled mess. Just wanted to kind of throw this out there, and obviously, I want to see what you guys would really like from Tales Fest. You know, what are you hoping to see? Maybe some changes to the mobile games, or, you know, what mainstream title or remakes would you like to see announced this year? Leave the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more if you are new to the channel. I'll see you all in a little bit, actually, when I make my Yuri Summon video in about 2 hours. So I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.